All right, everybody, the Hail Mary episode 12, I believe we're on. And boy, do we have an episode for you because a lot happened. I took my time off on Monday. I really wanted to talk about sports. I really did on Monday, but I was honoring my own time off, even though I don't labor. But it's fine. It's fine because we're going to talk about it now. And I have 7 different things that I want to talk about on today's episode. And there's a lot more that I could really get into right now. But we'll start it off just right from the beginning. I'm not even going to bore you. Let's talk about college football. So a couple of the biggest stories in college football. The first one is about Alabama and how they got booty dick down, like just absolutely embarrassed by Florida State. And the biggest question on social media, on the internet about that, it's like, hey, it's time to get rid of Kalen DeBoer. We need to move on because he hasn't done anything in his year here at Alabama. Let's cool it. Let's calm your jets a little bit. Listen, first of all, Paul Feinbaum was saying that Nick Saban needs to get off of the broadcast booth and go back to Alabama and coach this team. I think that is very stupid. I think that is dumb. I just think Paul Feinbaum wants his daddy back on the sidelines. Kalen DeBoer, I don't think people understand, is a very good coach. The people right now who are looking at him strictly at Alabama are most likely casuals and haven't seen his resume. They haven't seen his tenure at Washington. Washington was a good team whenever Kalen DeBoer was the coach there. Washington was a very physical team. Washington would hit you in the mouth. Washington played very well, and he needs to just find that style for this Alabama team. Because you got to think about it. Yes, his team was very good at Washington. So is every other team in the SEC. Every team in the SEC is at that same style that what he had when he was playing at Washington. So give him time. Give him 3 years. And if he doesn't make the playoffs, then yeah, maybe it's time to move on from him. But the asinine just takes that I am seeing where it's like, you got to get rid of him now because he lost to Florida State. Hey, newsflash, maybe Florida State just turned it around. Maybe Florida State is just good. You were playing them on their own field. Florida State last year had 2 wins, and they were looking to redeem themselves. Maybe Alabama, they just weren't up for the game. They thought, oh, we're playing a 2-win team from last year. We'll walk in there, and we'll just beat them down. That's something Kalen DeBoer has to learn. Nick Saban would have had that team ready. But Kalen DeBoer needs to not be Nick Saban. He needs to be more Kalen DeBoer. So all of these takes that you got to get rid of Kalen DeBoer because he lost 1 game, because he didn't make the playoffs last year. I mean, there were arguments that Alabama should have been in the playoffs last year. But just the panic, the sheer panic. Because, listen, who else is Alabama going to go out and get right now if they got rid of Kalen DeBoer? Do they have enough to try to poach Dabo Swinney from Clemson? Will they make a push to try to get somebody in the NFL? I mean, take Mike Tomlin for all I care. I really don't give a shit. But will they take Deion Sanders? Absolutely not, because Deion Sanders right now is worse than Kalen DeBoer as a coach. So just the takes that you got to get rid of Kalen DeBoer, very stupid. Alabama will be fine. Will Alabama win the SEC this year? Probably not, because there are better teams than them right now. But you let Kalen DeBoer do his recruiting thing. You let him do his team building thing. He'll be perfectly fine. There are some things he does need to clean up. His team didn't seem focused. They seem more interested in like social media things. And that is just the nature of college football because of NIL. These kids, they got their paychecks and now they're not really too worried about football. But the good head coaches in college football are able to get their players paid and keep them mega focused on the goal, and that is winning each individual week. And that's just something Kalen DeBoer is going to learn about the SEC, that you have to have your kids more than ready in the SEC because every coach will have their teams ready. You got to have them mega focused. You could be the best team in the country. You could be number one. You could give up 0 points all year. You could score 50 a game, and you still have to drill into their heads that everyone's doubting them. And that is what Kalen DeBoer needs to learn. He'll be perfectly fine. Everybody freaking out that you got to fire him. I think you're stupid, honestly. I really do. Give it 3 years. Give it 3 years before we start making these takes. I mean, Paul Feinbaum, like I said, just wants his daddy back on the sidelines. So that's why he's like, oh, we want Nick Saban back. We don't want Nick Saban back. I don't want Nick Saban back. Kalen DeBoer's a good head coach. So, yeah, that's about it. Paul Feinbaum, shut up, you bald man. You're bald man. Moving on to our next topic. Our next topic, let's stick with the SEC. Arch Manning. Arch Manning had a rough go versus Ohio State, and everybody was pulling old clips from him playing in high school, and they're like, well, this is why he struggled versus Ohio State, because some of the clips that I was seeing, it looked like the kids he was playing against were running in slow motion. It looked like the Arch Manning had the click remote, and he was hitting slow-mo on the other team. The athleticism I was seeing was actually zero. I was seeing negative athleticism. It was rough. It was very bad. I've seen people in wheelchairs roll faster than some of these kids were running. It was tough to watch. Is Arch Manning going to be a good quarterback? I don't know. Probably more than likely he will be a good quarterback. But why was again, we're going to talk about bald man Paul Feinbaum. He was saying that Arch Manning was better in every aspect for every quarterback that he's ever seen since Tim Tebow. Why are you putting that much pressure on the kid? He's had a few career starts in college, all against absolute bums. UL Lafayette and fucking Mercer or whoever they're playing. Like, just absolute dog water teams. But Paul Feinbaum said that he was the next reincarnation of Tim Tebow, and that he would be able to walk into Ohio State versus arguably one of the best defenses, probably the best defense in college football, and just torch them. And it was put on display that Arch Manning was not ready for the test. And I'm not blaming Arch Manning for struggling. You expect a quarterback who's making his first real career start, walking into a hostile environment versus the right now number one team in the country, you expect him to struggle. But for some reason, these SEC talking heads thought that he was going to be able to waltz in there and just prime Peyton Manning down the field. Arch Manning had 2 good throws. Literally just 2 good throws. He struggled on out routes that were 5 yards. He couldn't hit an open pass that was to the sidelines. The only 2 good passes he had came in the fourth quarter. The one down the sidelines for 30 yards whenever they were trying to make their comeback and they were down 14-7. And the other one is iffy to me because it was a good pass, I will say that, but I don't think it was a catch. The touchdown pass to Parker Livingston, that was a beautiful throw. I will say that. Just absolutely put it where the defender couldn't touch it. I don't think it was a catch, though, and I'm a little biased because I'm an Ohio State fan, but the way that he rolled over and the ball shifted, listen, I get why the ruling was upheld. It was too hard to say that it wasn't a catch. My opinion, it definitely wasn't a catch, but take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm biased. But the overarching topic right now is everybody's already labeling him as a generational quarterback, and he's the next big thing. Let the kid play football. The kid's had, 4 career starts, like I said, 3 of them against schlubs, and then he walked into Ohio State, the defending national champions, and he lost, like you probably thought he would. Would the game have been different had they played in Texas? Maybe a little bit. Maybe the crowd was getting to his head. He hasn't, he's played in an environment like that. Texas gets loud, but they're not screaming directly at him when he's on offense. They're a little bit more subdued, a little bit more quiet. And this leads into the next part of the whole Arch Manning situation. Ryan Clark, you win the award. I don't have anything right now. Here's your award. You win the award for the dumbest take of the year. You win this Old Spice aluminum-free Fiji spray. What are you talking about? They were talking about generational quarterbacks yesterday, and Ryan Clark went I'm not even allowed to say it, but if you've seen Tropic Thunder, he went full. He said that Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady were not generational quarterbacks. What makes somebody a generational quarterback if those guys aren't generational? Like, I'm dumbfounded at the stupidity that ESPN puts out every single day. And this is on the heels of Dan Orlovsky saying that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are the next Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But what the hell is Ryan Clark talking about? Maybe I can understand it from an aspect that it's like, hey, Drew Brees and Tom Brady weren't generational in college. Sure, I get that because they weren't highly touted. I mean, Drew Brees was awesome in college, though. Tom Brady, not the best in college. That's why he was a 6th-round pick. But to tell me that Peyton Manning was not a generational quarterback, I think is borderline stupid. I can't say another word. I don't want to get in trouble. But just I don't get it. And then if you're taking NFL careers for being generational, if you think Tom Brady is not generational, buddy, I think you are just petty that every time you played Tom Brady, he made you look like a fool. And I'm a Steeler fan. I watched it all. Tom Brady owned the Steelers. So I think that you are just petty and jealous that he made you look like a fool. What the hell do you mean that Tom Brady is not generational? And Stephen A. kind of, because Dan Orlovsky said, well, then what makes somebody generational? And Stephen A. actually had a good take saying production, stats. So if that makes you generational, yeah, Peyton Manning's generational. Drew Brees is generational. Tom Brady's generational. How about this? How about we stop throwing around that word generational? Because guess what? If everybody's generational, nobody is generational. Nobody at all. I can't, when you say the name the word generational to me, this might be a hot take, but wouldn't the name Cam Newton be thrown at you? But even then, we've had quarterbacks who are better than him, but coming out of high school, highly touted, great recruit, goes to college, dominant. That makes you generational, right? If that doesn't, what does? ESPN has become a suckfest of stupid. Absolute stupidity. And let's move on. I'm just going to go bang, bang, bang with these topics. We're already 13 minutes, and I still got more to talk about. Let's talk about a more suckfest of stupid and petty. Let's talk about the umpires in the MLB, more specifically Brian Walsh. I have been all over this story over on TikTok if you guys haven't been checking it out. Brian Walsh is putting on a clinic of just being a terrible umpire, and it's all against the Yankees. So 2 days ago, he was the home plate umpire against the Yankees, and he missed 24 calls in that game behind home plate. 17 of those calls went against the Yankees. And the biggest one was, it was a 3-2 count, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, Yankees down 1. Now, there was nobody on base. The ball is outside. I mean, it could be argued that Jazz Chisholm should maybe swing the bat, but it's a ball. Rings them up, strike 3. People were arguing. People were pissed because it was a ball. And this is also coming in the same game where Devin Williams, which, listen, you talk to Yankee fans, they want Devin Williams and Anthony Volpe shot into the sun. They suck. They are horrible. But Devin Williams was screaming at Brian Walsh saying, hey, I've thrown 4 pitches, 4 strikes. You called them all balls. You are not doing your job. So Yankee fans did a little digging. Yankee fans did what they do when somebody's stupid as an umpire, and they found this guy's Facebook. Just plain as day, wearing the hat, wearing the shirt at the game. This man is a Boston Red Sox fan. Now, I don't care if you're an umpire and you're a fan of a baseball team, I would actually have a problem if you grew up not being a fan of a baseball team and you're an umpire, because it means you probably didn't watch the game. But taking everything against the Yankees, taking that into effect, and then just taking another part into effect where he's just a terrible umpire, this guy should not be anywhere near a Yankee game. He should not be umpiring a Yankee game if he's going to do stuff like this. So I think that Brian Walsh heard everything that we said about him. Me, Yankee fans, just everything in totality. I'm not saying that I have the best takes and they were shot into the ethos and every single person heard it, but I had some traction on a video that I made about him. So I feel that he heard all of it. Because, these guys have ego power trips and they want to hear everything that's going on with them. On the heels of all that, I think that he saw everything that people were saying about him and said, bet. And he went out yesterday and did just the pettiest thing ever, where a ball was hit to the Yankee third baseman. He caught the ball, trapped the ball, brought it up, and on the transfer to throw the ball, he dropped it. This man said that it wasn't a catch. If that's not a catch in the MLB, every single other umpire in the world, Angel Hernandez, who is known for not being a good umpire, would have said that was a catch. I think every other umpire would have said it was a catch, but because it was Brian Walsh, because he's a Red Sox fan, because he heard everything that Yankee fans and baseball Twitter and baseball TikTok and everything was saying about him, he decided to make it all about himself. And that is the problem with the MLB. The MLB umpire union allows these guys to do this because they won't get in trouble. If you're a baseball player and you play bad, you know what happens? You get benched. If you continue to play bad after you were benched and you get thrown in a few games, you get sent down. The MLB needs to start sending these guys down when they're missing blatant calls like that, or you're consistently missing calls. There is no reason that Brian Walsh should have missed 24 calls in a game. Zero, none, zilch. There is zero reason that you should be at an MLB level and you're missing that many calls, which is why I think we need to go to a robot system for balls and strikes. It makes the most sense whatsoever. All these old heads are like, oh, well, we need a human element to it. Yeah, there is a human element to baseball. It's called the fucking players. They're the humans that are playing in it. It makes no sense whatsoever why we're not at balls and strikes. You can keep umpires out there. You can have them for snap judgment calls, safe and out calls, which even then, I feel that we could put microchips on the base and in the gloves and in the ball, and we can get bang, bang plays and get the right call every single time. There is a way to automate baseball where we don't need those idiots on the field anymore. But the umpire union would say, well, that's not fair. We're going to look. Hey, robots took your jabs. We need to get rid of umpires whatsoever. I'm going a little bit too long with this rant. But yeah, Brian Walsh, you should be ashamed of yourself because you are a terrible umpire. You are horrible at your job. It is bad. You need to go back, not even to the AAA level, not even back to the AA level. You shouldn't even be in the same vicinity as pro caliber players. Get your ass back to T-ball, motherfucker, because you suck at your job. You are horrible. All right, we have 4 more topics. Before we talk about these 4 last topics, I want you guys to check out my website after you listen to this podcast. Go to hailmary.media. That's where I post all my blogs. That's where all my TikTok videos are on there. All of my YouTube videos are on there. Go check it out. And then also check out my newsletter. You can find that when you are on my website, hailmary.media. The newsletter I send to you every single Friday. It is absolutely free. I only send it once a week. I'm not going to spam you. You get exclusive content that you may have missed. You get 2 free picks as well that are sent directly to your email. 1 for college football, 1 for the NFL. And also, when you subscribe to my newsletter, I make just pick sheets where I'll have a paragraph of an NFL game or a college game. I'll give you a pick. And if you're signed up for my newsletter, you get that absolutely free. Free picks, free content. I only send it once a week, every Friday. You will not be spammed. I promise you. And if I do accidentally send an article to you, it's a mistake, but I will wholeheartedly apologize if you email me saying, what the fuck is this? But just sign up for the newsletter. Go to hailmary.media. Check out all of our blogs. Check out everything that we got going on over at Hail Mary Media. Moving on to the next topic. And this one came out of nowhere, more so because NFL was on at the time that she tweeted this. But Caitlin Clark has been shut down for the season. And I don't have a lot to really say about this. I just have like a few maybe words. But Caitlin Clark has been shut down for the season because of a groin injury. She's only played 13 games this year. Now, ever since Caitlin Clark has been out, all content for the WNBA, aside from like, and I'm not even trying to be an asshole here, all content about the WNBA, I've seen very little of it from anyone, really. I haven't seen except highlights of Angel Reese just being Angel Reese. There has been very little content on X, on Twitter, on TikTok. Not many people are indulging in the product right now because Caitlin Clark has been out. So I ask you, if you watched the WNBA, if you were a fan of it, or you were just watching it just because you wanted to see Caitlin Clark, have you taken in any WNBA content since Caitlin Clark got hurt? Because hand up for me, I haven't. I haven't seen or even wanted to remotely tune in to anything WNBA related since Caitlin Clark got hurt. And it's more just so because I feel that the product, listen, when it's with Caitlin Clark, it's up here. But it takes a dive and a dip. I'm not saying there aren't good players in the WNBA. There are amazing players in the WNBA. But losing Caitlin Clark is a big deal. Because that is like, that's the face. That is like, if the NBA lost LeBron, sure, they will have people still watching because people really like the NBA. I guarantee you that there is a large portion of people that would be like, I don't care. You know, or if they lost Joker, if they lose a superstar. So I'm just asking you guys, because first of all, Caitlin Clark put this out during football. I thought was why are you doing that? Football's on, and everybody, myself included, tweeted at her being like, this is wild. There's football on. I can't believe you're making this announcement now. So, but yeah, my biggest question to all of you, are you actually watching the WNBA? Are you going to watch the WNBA playoffs knowing that Caitlin Clark is not participating in anything that has to do with the WNBA? It's an unfortunate situation because they seem to have good momentum. And then this injury happened, and I think it's just showing you blatantly who the face of the league is. A lot of players can claim that they're the face of the league. This is 100% definitively showing you Caitlin Clark owns the league. It's her league. And people are not tuned in. People aren't tweeting about it. People aren't posting about the WNBA aside from the lowlights because Caitlin Clark is not participating. You still have ESPN doing it, but that's just because they're ESPN and, you know, they want to appease everybody. But I feel like I have to look at the ratings, but I feel like they've been down drastically because Caitlin Clark has not been playing. And now with this announcement, I feel like it's going to get even worse. There may have been people who were watching Fever games because they're like, hey, yeah, maybe this team can make a playoff push and I'll check them out and just see what's going on when Caitlin Clark comes back. I feel that now that she's gone for the rest of the year, nobody's tuning in whatsoever. That's just my take on it. No disrespect to WNBA players, but I don't give a shit because Caitlin Clark's out. I really don't. All right, last night in the Eagles and Cowboys game, I'm not going to give a breakdown of the game because I feel like everybody and their mother already did that. I want to talk about Spitgate and Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is, first of all, NBC has a stat for everything. He is the first player on a defending Super Bowl champion in week 1 to get ejected, which is just wild. But Spitgate is the big topic of discussion because 6 seconds into the game last night, opening day, Jalen Carter gets booted from the game for spitting on Dak Prescott. And usual suspects of tweets or, people just being like, well, that's what you get with Jalen Carter. And, oh, this is the worst thing Jalen Carter's ever done. Yeah, look into his history. He's done some bad shit in his life. But it came out during that weather delay, which, first of all, NFL, you can't be having weather delays. I had to go to bed early last night. I am a very sleepy boy right now, and you made me stay up past my bedtime, and I'm very tired right now, even though it was probably an extra hour, but I'm still very sleepy and very tired. Anyway, during the weather delay, it came out that Jalen Carter was like, well, I spit on Dak Prescott because he spit towards me first, and everyone's like, the fuck are you talking about, man? He did not spit towards you. Well, a video was obtained of Dak Prescott not spitting towards Jalen Carter. Well, I guess you could say towards in the sense that he was facing that way, but Dak Prescott was in the huddle, obviously getting ready for the first play of the season for the Dallas Cowboys. There was a delay because one of the Eagles players was getting carted off the field. Dak Prescott walked over past his lineman, stuck his head over their shoulder pads, and spit towards the ground. Jalen Carter, I guess, thought that Dak Prescott was spitting at him. So he walked towards Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott walked towards him. Jalen Carter just hawks a loogie right at his chest. Boom, ejected. What do I think is going to happen from this? I think that both players are going to get fined. I don't think Dak Prescott should be fined, to be honest. I mean, you're not allowed to spit anymore. I mean, he didn't spit at him. Like, it's very clear he spit at the ground. But I feel like he's going to get fined because he was the initiator in this situation. I think both guys are going to get fined, but I think that what Jalen Carter did, just blatant disrespect. I feel that if he doesn't get a suspension from the league, he might get some sort of penalty from Philly. I feel they may not play him next week just for like conduct detrimental to the team. Something like that. I don't know. It's Philly. They kind of love this kind of stuff. But I feel that the league will make an emphasis. They're going to be like, you're not allowed to spit at people. And they're both going to get like $15,000 fines. And Jalen Carter may get a 1-game suspension. It's hard to really say, but that has been the talk of the town. It's Spitgate. Who spit first? Who spit the worst? Let me know in the comments down below. That's like all the videos that I've been seeing. But I do think the NFL was going to make an example out of Jalen Carter, I guess. But are we now going to have a new rule that you can't spit on people? Well, you can't. But like, is that going to be like written? Is it written? Is it written in the NFL rule book? You're not allowed to blatantly spit on people? I don't know. I mean, it's just common human decency and respect and not letting your team down that you don't spit on somebody. But that has been the talk of the town is Spitgate. Jalen Carter. Worst thing he's ever done in his life. Don't look that up because he's done some worse things in his life as well. Bill Belichick is our next topic because UNC, they got booty dick down. They got killed by TCU. You have people like Skip Bayless being like, haha, look at UNC. They marched down the field. TCU can't handle them. And then UNC got absolutely dog walked. Well, because of this, I'm not really going to talk about the game. I'm going to talk about what Bill Belichick's doing and why, if I was a player, I would be pissed. Bill Belichick, I think his ego got hurt because he got destroyed so bad. Knowing that college in the NFL is a different animal. It is a different breed of football. And Bill Belichick is banning Patriot scouts from attending UNC practices or anything like that. And it seems as though all scouts of the NFL are not allowed to do anything related with UNC football. If I was a player, there was nobody on the team that even remotely looked like they belong in the NFL. However, if I was a player, I would be heated, and I would say that this is grounds for transfer, because I would be like, my coach is not helping me in my career. My coach is upset that he's going to have NFL level people coming here, and he doesn't want to talk about how bad he got beat. He doesn't want his ego being hurt. So he's punishing me as a player because his ego's hurt. And sure, there's really nobody on the team right now that is worth an NFL look. Maybe not worth like an NFL, some of these guys will probably go to the NFL, but I believe that this is grounds for some people to transfer, because Bill Belichick is blatantly not allowing these kids an opportunity to be looked at by NFL scouts, to talk to people at the NFL level, because his ego is hurt and he doesn't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to be embarrassed by my former NFL comrades. He is being a big baby. And listen, if I was a player, I would go to the NCAA and I would say, hey, this is what he's doing. I want to transfer. Sign the paper, because he's screwing me over in my life. Or it's either that or these players need to form a mutiny or a coup or something, because he's seriously just blatantly screwing them over, not letting them be looked at by NFL scouts, not letting them be able to talk to NFL scouts, and it's all just because I think his ego is hurt and he's embarrassed that he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have Tom Brady anymore. He doesn't have Daddy anymore to win him football games, and he doesn't want to talk to these scouts being like, "Oh, so what happened?" Because he knows that he's going to get embarrassed. And yeah, I would be a little bit upset. I would be pissed if I was a player who had at least, even if I had a 7th round grade on me, like that's an opportunity of a lifetime. But because they got beat so bad, he's crying. It's whatever. I mean, Bill Belichick is just a baby. He shouldn't be coaching. I don't know what got into him thinking that he should do this. Go hang out with your 24-year-old girlfriend. The girl is younger than me. It's weird. Whatever. I don't know. It's stupid. But if I was Bill Belichick, come to your senses, buddy, because you're screwing these kids over. In our final topic, speaking of coming to your senses, Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather, the fight that nobody wants to see. There's really not much I'm going to say about this except what the fuck. Why? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest episode of the Hail Mary. I hope you have a beautiful week. And again, check out hailmary.media. Check out our free newsletter. I'm going to be sending it out here soon. If you're listening to this now, you're not going to be able to get this week's newsletter if you're not subscribed, but you can get next week's newsletter. But yes, go to hailmary.media. Check us out. Sign up for the free newsletter and follow us on all of our short form platforms. We have been going freaking bonkers on Instagram and Facebook lately. I've been loving it. We've been going crazy on Instagram and Facebook. TikTok, you need to figure it out. Push your boy's content. But we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we are on Snapchat, we are on X. Follow us everywhere. Check us out. Have a beautiful day. I will see you all again on Monday. Yes, we're going to have a beautiful slate of college football. We got NFL coming back. I am so freaking stoked. Let's go! Have a beautiful day, everybody.